Let me ask you a question. It's a question that might have floated through your mind on a rainy night or in a quiet moment as you stared into the mirror and wondered, what if? If you had a time machine, if some magic was real, what moment would you return to in your past? What would you whisper into the ear of your younger self? Which road, previously untaken, would you choose to walk down? It seems like a meaningless question, doesn't it? Because the hard reality is, we can't turn back time. The past is forever set in stone, with choices that are permanently frozen. That question often feels like it only pulls us deeper into the quicksand of regret, of what-ifs and if-onlys. It can make us feel powerless over our own lives. But what if I told you there was a place where you could actually do it? A place where you could live out all the lives you regret not choosing. Today, we're not just going to review a book. We are going on an extraordinary journey together. A journey deep into the human soul to confront our biggest regrets and to find the answer to the ultimate question: how should we live a life without regret? Our guide on this expedition is the novel that has touched millions of hearts around the world, The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. If you're feeling lost at the crossroads of life, if you're feeling crushed by the heavy weight of regret, or if you simply need a gentle, soothing balm for your soul in this chaotic world, then you've come to the right place. So please, get comfortable, pour yourself a cup of tea, and join me as we follow a woman named Nora Seed through thousands of lifetimes in a single fateful night. I promise you that by the time this video ends, the way you see your life and the choices you've made will never be the same again. Are you ready? Let's begin. So, to start this journey, let's get to know our main character, Nora Seed. And I have a feeling that in some small corner of her story, you might just see a reflection of yourself. Nora, at 35, feels like her life is a summary of missed potential and bitter failures. She's like a tree with strong roots that could have grown into a mighty oak, but instead ended up as a stunted, flowerless shrub. Her life is a symphony of unfinished notes. Let's take a look at Nora's biggest regrets in the Book of Regrets. First regret, quitting her swimming career. You see, as a teenager, Nora was a swimming prodigy. At 14, she was ranked #1 in the country in the breaststroke. The Olympic dream wasn't far off. But was it her dream? No, it was her father's. Her dad, a man whose own career was cut short by an accident, had placed all of his broken dreams, all of his hopes, onto his daughter's small shoulders. Every lap, every breath held under the water wasn't passion. It was pressure. The weight from her dad, her coach, from what felt like the entire world watching her, became suffocating. And so, she quit. She quit right on the brink of glory. Have you ever felt that way? Like you're living a life that was written for you by someone else? Striving for a dream that doesn't belong to your heart? That internal conflict, the desire to please those you love versus the soul's cry for freedom, is devastating. Second regret, leaving the band. After quitting swimming, Nora found solace in music with her brother. They formed a band called Labyrinths, and once again, talent smiled upon them. A major record label took notice. The future of a rock star was right there, within her grasp. But then, just like before, right at the threshold of success, Nora faltered. She felt the pressure. She backed out. That decision didn't just end her career. It shattered her brother's dream and destroyed their relationship. Her brother spiraled into addiction, and Nora lived with the crushing guilt that she had ruined his life. Third regret, calling off her wedding to Dan. Dan was a good man who loved her. They had planned it all out. A shared home, a cozy little pub in the countryside. The wedding was just 2 days away. But then her mother passed away from cancer. That shock, combined with the depression that had long been simmering beneath the surface, caused Nora to break. She didn't know what she wanted. She only knew what she didn't want. She didn't want to be a wife and wasn't ready to be a mother. She was terrified the marriage would trap her even deeper in the darkness. And so, she called it off, leaving Dan heartbroken. Do you see the pattern? Time and time again, Nora stood before a wide-open door leading to a bright future. And time again, she turned and ran. She even turned down an offer to move to Australia with her only close friend, Izzy, without any explanation. Eventually, Nora's life shrinks until she's just a sales clerk in a music shop, living a listless existence with her cat. And then, the final tragedies strike, like the last drops that make the cup overflow. She gets fired. Her beloved cat dies in an accident. She forgets a piano lesson with a young boy, and his mother cancels it for her. Nora looks around. She has nothing left. No family, no friends, no career, no purpose. She feels like an extra, a useless speck of dust in the vast universe. All her past decisions have turned into ghosts of regret, haunting her day and night, dragging her down into the deepest, darkest pit of depression. And she makes her final decision to end her life. Nora's story is heartbreaking, but it also reflects a universal truth. We often tend to look back at our lives as a series of disconnected events, a string of right or wrong choices. If only I had chosen a different major. If only I hadn't broken up with that person. If only I had been braver. But Matt Haig masterfully shows us that Nora's problem wasn't a single bad choice. The problem was a pattern of running away, of living for others, of letting fear dictate her life. And here is the first lesson the book gives us. Regret isn't an event, it's a habit of the mind. It is in that darkest moment when Nora believes it's all over and that something miraculous has happened. A new journey begins. Instead of death, Nora finds herself in an unimaginable place, a colossal library stretching infinitely in every direction. Shelves tower to the ceiling, filled with books of an emerald green color. The air smells of old paper and endless possibilities, and the clock here is always frozen at exactly midnight. Welcome to the Midnight Library, an in-between place, a space between life and death. The librarian here is Mrs. Elm, her old-school librarian, a woman who had always been kind to her. Mrs. Elm explains that every book on these shelves is a different version of Nora's life, a life that grew from a different choice she made. She can open any book and live that life. If she finds a life she truly loves, she can stay there forever. And first, Mrs. Elm hands her a thick, heavy volume. Its title, The Book of Regrets. Inside, every page details everything she ever lamented. It's a brilliant concept, isn't it? This library gives us the ultimate chance to explore the question of what if to its fullest extent. So, are those other lives really better, as Nora always imagined? Let's follow her and find out. Life number 1, the pub, the love, and the disillusionment. Nora's biggest regret was calling off the wedding to Dan. So she chose the life where they got married and opened that pub in the countryside. When she slips into this life, everything seems perfect. The pub is bustling, and her relationships with her brother and best friend are healed. She feels content. This is it, she thinks. This is the life I was supposed to have. But then the cracks begin to show. The Dan she married isn't the Dan she imagined. He drinks too much. He's disrespectful. He dismisses her dreams out of hand. And then the bitter truth is revealed. Dan has been cheating on her, not once, but twice. He blames it on the alcohol. The happy marriage, it turns out, was just a facade for an empty, rotten core. Nora realizes that even if she had chosen to marry him, Dan's character would have been the same, and her right choice would have only led to a more prolonged kind of misery. This is a powerful lesson many of us need to learn. We so often idealize the paths we didn't take. We think the ex we let go would have been the perfect partner. The job we turned down would have been our dream career. But the truth is, every path has its own set of stones and thorns. Life number 2, the glory, the betrayal, and the loneliness at the top. Next, Nora chooses a life in which she hasn't quit swimming. Poof! She wakes up in the body of an Olympic champion, a sports icon, an inspiration to millions. Her father is still alive. She's so happy she could cry. It seems like everything has been fixed. But once again, happiness is fleeting. She discovers that her father is alive, motivated by her success, but he had an affair, leaving her mother to sink into alcoholism and die an early, miserable death. Her relationship with her brother isn't based on love, but on profit. He's her manager, and she's his cash cow. She has everything in the world: fame, money, admiration. But she feels more empty and more alone than ever before. The writer Ernest Hemingway once said, "Happiness in intelligent people is the rarest thing I know." Nora, at the peak of her fame, understood this profoundly. She realized that external success can never fill an internal void. Life number 3, the ice, the survival, and the will to live. Nora tries so many other lives. She becomes a glaciologist in the Arctic and comes face to face with a ferocious polar bear. And in that moment, on the verge of death, for the first time in her life, a powerful thought surges through her: I don't want to die. This is a critical turning point. Before, Nora sought death. But when she truly faces it, her survival instinct, her fierce desire to live, awakens. She realizes that life, no matter how difficult, is a precious gift. After traveling through a multitude of lives, as a rock star lost in addiction, a philosopher, and an animal rescue worker, Nora slowly begins to grasp a harsh but liberating truth. The problem wasn't the life she chose. The problem was her. This is the second, and perhaps the biggest, lesson of the book. You can change your circumstances, but you cannot run from yourself. No matter where you go, what you do, whether you're rich or poor, famous or unknown, you take you with you, with all your fears, your insecurities, your unhealed wounds. Changing the world outside means nothing if your world inside is still in chaos. A reader on Goodreads wrote a comment that I absolutely love. "I always thought that if I just had a different job or a different house, I'd be happy. The Midnight Library taught me that happiness isn't a destination. It's an inside job. You have to build it yourself, no matter where you are." So the question is no longer, which life is the best? The question becomes, how do I build a strong inner world so I can be happy in any life? The answer lies in the next part of our journey. After living through countless lives, Nora and we, along with her, begin to understand the deeper laws that govern human happiness. The Midnight Library isn't just a fantastical adventure, it's a profound philosophical lesson on life. Now let's peel back the layers and uncover the 3 biggest lessons, the 3 diamonds that Matt Haig has gifted us. Golden lesson number 1, break the chains of expectation. We've already talked about how Nora always lived for the expectations of others, but the book goes even deeper. It shows us that those expectations didn't just come from her parents or her brother. They were an invisible inheritance, a form of generational trauma passed down. Nora's grandfather lived a life of compromise. Her grandmother gave up her dream of being an actress to become a dreary housewife. Her grandparents' unhappiness instilled in Nora's mother the belief that marriage equals misery. Her mother's own unfulfilled career then passed on to Nora an invisible belief in failure. Her father, with his own difficult childhood and shattered dreams, projected it all onto her. Nora was born from a chain of regrets and broken hopes from generations past. Do you see? Sometimes the burdens we carry on our shoulders are not entirely our own. They belong to our parents, our grandparents, passed down unconsciously. The great psychologist Carl Jung said, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." Nora's life only truly begins when she realizes she has the power to choose. The choice not to continue living someone else's unfinished story. The choice to write her own. And so, this is a question for you. What expectations are weighing you down? From your family, from society, or even from the unrealistic standards you set for yourself? Recognizing these invisible chains is the first step to freeing yourself. Give yourself permission to be you, imperfectly but authentically. Golden lesson number 2. The paradox of pain. Embrace it to find happiness. Throughout her journey, Nora has a very clear tendency. She always runs from pain. The moment life gets difficult, when there's conflict, when there's loss, she wants to retreat to the library. The library becomes her safe haven, her escape from uncomfortable realities. But because of this, she never feels whole. She is a tourist passing through lives, not a person truly living them. And then she learns a hard-earned lesson. The American poet Alice Walker wrote a magnificent line that the author masterfully weaves into the story. The most common way people give up their power is by thinking they don't have any. While the book's quote is different, the sentiment is the same. Refusing to accept suffering is refusing happiness. Think about it. How can we know the sweetness of happiness if we've never tasted the bitterness of suffering? How can we appreciate the light if we've never walked through darkness? Strength is not born from ease. It is forged in adversity. A tree needs to withstand the storm to grow deep roots. A diamond is formed under immense pressure. We live in a culture that sometimes promotes a form of toxic positivity. We're told to always be happy, to think positive, but this can create harmful pressure, making us feel guilty for being sad or for hurting. The Midnight Library reminds us that all emotions are valid. Sadness, disappointment, and pain are part of the human experience. Instead of running from them, we must learn to sit with our pain, listen to the message it's trying to send, and allow ourselves to heal. True happiness isn't a life without problems. True happiness is the belief that you are strong enough to handle any problem that comes your way. Golden lesson number 3. The ultimate currency, the power of love and connection. After experiencing all the glory and all the pain, Nora decides to try a path she had never even considered. A life with Ash, a kind man she had only met briefly in her root life. And this life changes everything. It's not a glamorous life. She's a philosophy lecturer. Ash works at a nursing home. They have a lovely daughter named Molly. Their life is full of simple things. Walking the dog together, reading bedtime stories, late-night conversations. And in that simple life, for the first time, Nora feels something she never had before: wholeness. She feels unconditional love, a deep connection, and a sense of belonging. She realizes a great truth. You can have everything in the world: money, fame, power. You can travel the globe and stand at the pinnacle of humanity. But without love, without connection, it is all empty. Love is the universal currency, the energy that makes life worth living. As the American author Leo Buscaglia wrote, "Love is life, and if you miss love, you miss life." And the love here isn't just romantic love. It's love for family, for friends, for community, and most importantly, it is love for oneself. Nora had lived her whole life without love. She didn't feel it from her family. She pushed her friends and lovers away. And above all, she didn't love herself. She constantly criticized and judged herself as useless and weak. Her life with Ash taught her the final lesson. To be loved, you must first open your heart. You must love your own imperfect self. You must believe you are worthy of love. When the door to your heart opens, you will find love all around you. These are the 3 diamonds Nora found: breaking the chains of expectation, embracing pain to grow, and nurturing love as the reason for living. Armed with these lessons, Nora was ready for her final choice. And now we arrive at the end of our journey. After everything, which life will Nora choose? The life of a rock star? An Olympic champion? Or the simple, happy life with Ash and Molly? The answer might surprise you, but it is also perfectly logical. As Nora is basking in the happiness of her life with Ash and Molly, she realizes something. This is the life of a different Nora, a Nora who made different choices and cultivated this love for years. She is just a visitor, an imposter. And then she feels herself being pulled away. The library is collapsing. Mrs. Elm tells her it's happening because Nora, the dying Nora, is losing hope in her root life. In that life-or-death moment, Nora realizes something. The place she wanted to escape to was, in fact, the very place she had tried to escape from in the first place. She doesn't want another life. She wants her own life. She wants to live. "I want to live," she screams amidst the crumbling library. And then, she wakes up. She's violently ill, her body racked from the overdose. But she is alive. With every last ounce of strength, she drags herself to her neighbor's door and bangs on it, begging for help. The moment that door opens, it is the moment a new life truly begins. Nora didn't choose any of the lives in the library. She chose to return to her own messy, broken reality. Why? Because she finally understood. The prison is not a place, it's a perspective. Happiness is not found in some ideal circumstance. It is found in our attitude towards the life we have. The author uses a beautiful metaphor: the volcano. A volcanic eruption symbolizes destruction, but the lava, after it cools, creates the most fertile and rich soil on Earth. Nora decided she would be a volcano. She would not run from the barren land of her life anymore. She would stay, she would nurture it, and she would make it fertile in her own way. She starts over, right from the ashes. She visits her brother and begins to mend their relationship. She calls Izzy, her friend in Australia. She finds a new job and adopts another cat. She begins to truly live, one day at a time, with gratitude and appreciation. The German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche wrote a classic line that the book echoes: "There is only one path in the world that none can walk but you." Where does it lead? Don't ask, just go. This is the final, most powerful message that the Midnight Library wants to leave us with. Don't waste your life dreaming of other paths. The only path that matters is the one beneath your feet right now. We don't need to listen to every piece of music to understand music. We don't need to live every life to taste the flavor of life. This one life is enough. A life with all its bitterness and sweetness, its love and its pain, its laughter and its tears. As long as you live it fully, as long as you live as yourself, accepting everything it brings, then that is a life worth living. And so, our journey with the Midnight Library comes to a close. What an emotional and insightful trip it has been, hasn't it? We've walked with Nora as she faced her regrets, lived countless lives, and finally discovered that the only place we truly belong is in our own present life. So now, let's return to the question I asked you at the very beginning of this video. If you could choose another life to live, what kind of life would you want? Perhaps, after hearing Nora's story, your answer has changed a little. Perhaps the answer is no longer a different life, a different choice in the past. Perhaps the answer is simply, I would choose this life, but I would live it differently. I would live it more fully, more bravely, and with more love. Every single one of us has the power to choose a new life, not by going back to the past, but by starting right now. Because being alive means holding a future filled with infinite potential. And that is the message that BookSmart Insights and I personally want to share with you today. If this video brought you any value or simply a bit of comfort and hope, please let me know by giving it a like. And I would truly love to hear your story. Please leave a comment below and share the biggest lesson you learned from Nora's journey or regret that you've learned to let go of. Your story is not only a huge source of motivation for me, but it could also inspire so many other people reading the comments. If you're new here to the BookSmart Insights home, please become a part of our family by hitting that subscribe button and the little notification bell. I promise to keep bringing you these deep dives into self-discovery through the pages of great books. Thank you for spending your time with me and for staying until the very end. Remember, your life is a book, and you are the author. Go write a great story. Thank you for listening. I'll see you in the next video.